Council meeting for March the 16th, 2021 to order at exactly 7:04 p.m. And turn it over to the mayor for the flag salute and invocation.
As we've been doing, take a moment to think of the people that have died from the virus and that are dying. Okay, thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to turn it over to the borough manager, Andrew Heyman, for the official roll call.
Council President Papaleo,
Present.
Councilman Kyle Willis,
Present.
Councilwoman Lee Daly,
Present.
Councilman Nick Waters, Councilman Nick Waters. Councilman Waters is absent. Councilwoman Melinda Isaac,
Present.
Councilman Jason McGuigan,
Here.
Councilman Robert Ruskowski,
Here.
Mayor Bob Fry,
Here,
Solicitor Alex Baumler,
Here.
and I am present.
All right, very good. So let's move to actually, council, do we want to skip to the business with our police business early so that the gentlemen don't have to sit through public comment? Would anybody have any objection to that?
Joe, also announce executive session before you start.
Yep, forgive me. We did hold a brief executive session prior to this meeting regarding contractual and legal business. Does anybody object to me moving that to the top of the meeting here? No? All right, so Councilman Ruskowski, I'm going to let you take your portion of Public Safety Committee ahead of mine so that we can just get these gentlemen squared away and handle police business first.
You want me to do my whole section?
Yeah, just go ahead with your whole section. That'd be fine.
Motion to approve the police chief's report for the month of February 2021.
Motion. Second.
Motion's made and been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry, Mayor.
when you're done passing it, I'm up at the police station to swear them in.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. I'd like to go ahead. I'm sorry, Councilman Ruskowski. Go ahead.
Motion to approve the fire chief's report for the month of February 2021.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Motion to approve the fire marshal's report for the month of February 2021.
We have a second. Seconded by Councilwoman Daly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Motion to hire Thomas Becker as a part-time police officer for the borough.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Daly. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Motion to promote Officer Eugene Mackey to the rank of corporal.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Councilwoman Daly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Corporal Mackey.
Motion to promote Officer Peter Acarola to the rank of corporal.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Councilwoman Daly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Corporal Pete Acarola.
That's all I have.
All right, very good. Mayor, are you available to swear them in tonight?
Right now,
Oh, all right. Are you at the police station?
I'm upstairs at the police station.
Okay. All right.
Want to do it now?
Yeah, let's do it now.
All right. You guys want to hold this? You can do it first. Raise your right hand. Bible. I
I, Eugene Mackey,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
I will support,
I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
and discharge my duties
I will discharge my duties
as corporal
corporal
for the Borough of Folcroft,
for the Borough of Folcroft
fidelity,
with fidelity,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Come on, Peter, Anthony, come here. Hurry up.
I
Peter Ackerbold,
do solemnly swear
do
to
solemnly swear
support,
to support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of
and the
Pennsylvania,
Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
and I will discharge my duties
Discharge my duties
as a
corporal
for the Borough of Folcroft,
for the Borough of Folcroft
fidelity,
with fidelity,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Corporal Accarola.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome. Is that Officer Becker up next?
He's not up here, Jeff. I'll have to swear him in when they can get a hold of him.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So we're going to move on to the audience participation segment. Thank you, Mayor, for accommodating that. It was kind of an awkward swearing in, but we made do. So thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Good job. Moving on to audience participation. How do we want to handle this? Are there folks in the room that are they on this meeting, or how are we doing that?
They are in the meeting. They are muted. If they wish to speak, they can just unmute themselves and speak.
Okay.
I don't believe you have any takers, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I will say I do
Steve,
have,
are there any people in the waiting room?
Negative. Everybody's been admitted to the meeting.
Okay. Andrew, you were going to say something.
we do have one written comment that was submitted to the borough today.
Okay. Happy to have that read into the record.
Give me one moment. So this is from Bruce and Diana McCollum. I apologize, I have their number, but they're on Bayard. Dear Mr. Heyman and council members, thank you for your interest in the condition of our street. As my wife and I discussed with Mr. Heyman, we brought the matter of the street sinking in front of our house to the borough's attention back in 1994. We were told it may be due to either our water main or waste line leaking. When we hired 2 plumbers, one to replace the water main and another to follow the following year to replace the waste line with PVC, this was all accomplished back in 1995 to 1996. Both plumbers assured us and allowed us to inspect their work to verify the fact that neither of our plumbing lines was leaking. The problem with the street sinking was out beyond where the water connections were made. We contacted the borough to relay this information, and we were told it would be looked into. Since that time, we made a number of calls to the borough over the years about the problem. The response from the borough had been to place asphalt over the area and tamp it flat, and later, when a hole appeared, stone would be put into the void, then covered with asphalt. This has been an ongoing problem. We've been in contact with the borough about it over the last 23 years. We had our plumbing lines replaced to see if that was the cause, but the problem has continued until the present. In May of 2016, a larger hole appeared in the street. Diana attended a council meeting in order to try to have the problem addressed, as it had finally become a safety hazard. The steel plate was the answer to the safety issue. We were contacted by the former code enforcement officer in 2017, telling us to remove the steel plate in the street with no further communication from the borough until late 2018, when we were informed by the borough's video inspection of the sewer line, which had been completed that year. We met with Lisa McGuigan and Mark Picenti in early 2019, and it was agreed that we would hire Horizon Services to video our sewer line from the clean out to the street to see what kind of issue there might be. According to the Horizon study, the wastewater runs through the pipe very smoothly, but they did find a joint that was offset with a small leak. We talked through the project with the Horizon representative and all that it would entail. Because the borough had informed us that we were to bear sole responsibility and the project had to be completed ASAP, we signed a contract with Horizon to start in February of 2019. The completed repairs to both pipe and street and the total bill was would be $12,549. In order to finance the project, we were forced to draw over $16,000 from our retirement savings to pay for the project and the tax penalty for early withdrawal of these funds. Unfortunately, because we had been given no direction from the borough and from 1996 until 2019, we feel that the problem had grown in size and scope. Certainly, the street involvement has since grown. We feel the cost of the project was a reflection of how long the issue had been left unaddressed by the borough and that we should not have had to bear the entirety of the financial burden. And now, not just the surface of the asphalt is failing, but it appears that in a number of places in the tree line along our street, there are signs of sinking. This seems to indicate a much bigger issue that just the small leak in our sewer connection and the Horizon video scan revealed. We are encouraged that the borough is now considering taking action this year in order to address these different issues. Thank you. Sincerely, Bruce and Diana McCollum.
Okay, so just to be clear, to the extent which we would be involved with their sewer lateral is not, so we're just adding Bayard finally to the repaving list. So I want to make that clear on the record that it sounded to me that the letter, which I appreciate the correspondence, it seemed to indicate that they were expecting us to do something with their sewer lateral. Did I hear that wrong? Andrew?
Yes, that's correct. That was another matter that they addressed with us when you and I met with them some weeks ago.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to, give any sort of, I don't want to lead anybody on here, but we are going to vote and hopefully in the affirmative to add Bayard Road to the repaving efforts in our 2021 road program, but it does not include any, any sort of intent to involve ourselves with, sewer lateral matters, which are, really that's a matter for the homeowner. Lisa can certainly add into that for her portion under the engineer's report. So is there anything else under audience participation? For you, Andrew? No? Last call for anybody who might be in the meeting, who might like to participate? No?
So I would, my name is Diana McCullum, and it was our letter that Andrew just read.
Hi,
And I would
Diana, how are you?
I'm good. We're very happy that you would put us on the docket to have the street paved. But again, our question is there any way that the borough would find it in their pockets or their heart and their means to assist us with this $16,000 debt that we had to incur over the last few years in order to take care of a situation that had plagued our street for a very, very long time. We feel that if the borough had taken action with this back in the 90s, we would not have been stuck with a $16,000 bill. I don't know about all of you sitting here tonight, but that is a big chunk of money to us that came out of our retirement at a high interest rate with a penalty in order to pay for this, so there was no financial burden for us over the few years. So we are asking if the borough would consider reimbursing us in some form, not for all of it, of course not, but of a portion that would help alleviate the financial sting that it has given us because it was ignored for so long.
So when we say it was ignored, are we referring to, was there, so what caused the fracture in the leak, so to speak, in the
No one
sewer?
ever knows, because that had been going on for a long time. And
Right.
it could just have been a simple settlement of the ground and where our homes are all built on the creek bed that runs down Bayard Avenue into the baseball field. And from our conversation with you and Andrew 2 months ago or last month, you brought it to our attention that there are various spots throughout the borough that are facing this situation where the joints are twisted and cracked, not because of lack of ownership or lack of caring on our end, but because of where our houses are built and how old our systems are.
Okay, all right, forgive me, I'm caught off guard. I didn't expect to be considering this angle tonight in this meeting, but it is something that I would like to discuss with council and with with our borough engineer at another time, and as well as our solicitor. I do take it, what you've shared here, under serious advisement, and it's something that I will certainly look into. I can't, promise any outcome one way or another, but your grievances are well heard, and I will take it up with the appropriate experts.
Hey,
regarding this
Joe.
matter. Yes, sir.
I can't speak for 1994 because I was a freshman in high school, but over the 4 years before it was repaired, I like to ask the engineer, and if my memory serves, I believe you met with these folks or gave an opinion on this property a few times over that time span. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, Mr. McGuigan.
That is
and I
not
would,
correct. That is not
I was,
correct.
okay. Ma'am, you were actually at the meeting and told me that you had the sanitary lateral replaced. I asked whether or not it was replaced all the way to the street and was told yes. However, the road, as you know, has not been paved for many, many years, and there was no patch in front of your house. The reason that came up was that we had done an inspection utilizing Delcora video of the main and found the offset joint at your location. At the time that I did the initial review or the initial inspection of the complaint, I noted that there were several properties that there are similar sinkholes, because all of those properties were built at the same time. So the laterals, being the terracotta laterals that they were, the oakum starts failing and your joints start failing. So that's how you get those sinkholes. It definitely was a joint. You have a photo of it. All of the inspection reports were given to you and your husband. I can't speak for what you discussed with Mr. Pacenti, but our recommendation was that the plumbing inspector would need to move forward with getting that repair completed. That plate was on for, I'm going to say, at least 4 years. Bayard Avenue was supposed to be paved several times, and it was delayed because this issue existed in the street. I will tell you that Mr. Heyman already has a copy of all of that information. It was sent over probably 2 months ago of my report, the investigation, the video inspection, the photo of the offset joint in the street. And that's the best I can tell you. I don't know what's happened since. If Horizon only did from the street to your clean out because the rest of your lateral was already completed, that number that you gave us is astronomical. And I'm going to say that that cost is absolutely outrageous.
Especially to have happened several years ago, and what you would think, with inflation, it was expensive even for that time.
Well, you're talking at the most
8,
maybe
9.
20 feet of line. You would typically pay about $12,000 to go from your house out to the main. So that is a very high number. So, Andrew, I did send that information way back when we were talking about Bayard. And I would suggest to you that you forward that to all of council so the council can see what was completed at the time.
Be nice.
Okay. And
Can I say something? This is Bruce McCullum.
sure.
The first time we heard anything at all from Ms. Catania, was after the 2018 video inspection. We had not heard anything at all about any kind of video inspection or lateral that was a joint that was bad or anything like that.
Nope.
We had no contact from the borough at all.
Right, that contact was not made till I came to a council meeting,
Correct.
and that's what started the whole ball rolling.
Right.
Up until then, the street was not taken care of, the hole was not attended to, it was constantly filled with stone and gravel. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And the reason the Horizon bill was so high was not because they had to replace so much pipe. PVC is cheap, and so is digging a hole. But when you have to dig up a hole that is 8 feet by 10 feet out in the street and then repair the street, that incurs a very high bill. The Horizon bill was $12,000, just over $12,000. And most of that was because they had to repair the street. Not because we had talked when we first heard from Horizon and how much it was going to cost. We did call a couple other people and everybody was around the same ballpark. Horizon is not cheap by any means, but we went with them because we know people who have work done by Horizon, and they do really good work.
And it had to be done as soon as possible.
And we were under the impression from meeting with Mr. Pezenti, I think his name is, and Lisa McGuigan, that had to get done as soon as possible. So we felt kind of under the gun to get it done. We were really not given a whole lot of guidance at all from Borough.
So, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so that is, yeah, Bob, actually, could you, so we have two people in the same room on the same meeting, so give me just a second. Bob, would you mind stepping out into the administrative offices are open, if you just want to sit at the tax collector's desk, just because the feedback, sorry about that. All right, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. McCollum. It's something that we will discuss, among council and with the engineer in greater detail.
Thank you very much, Joe. We appreciate it. And Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So moving on to the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. You do have a copy of my written report.
I do.
Couple things that are on your agenda this evening. We have the road program. We received 6 bids for the road program. And the low bid was that of AF Damon, in the amount of $548,946.60. The high bid was at $733,169.60. I am recommending the award to AF Damon. However, I am recommending the award to AF Damon, including a change order, and that change order would be for Bayard, the end of Ashland, Watson, and Sharon Park, which would increase the total to $591,494.82. As everyone is aware, we are receiving a fee in lieu from PICO. The amount of the fee in lieu is $400,385.31. So what that does is bring your total from the liquid fuels in your county aid to a little bit under $190,000 versus the $420,000 that we were expecting to expend. Also, we received a complaint concerning the inlet grate on Taylor Drive. The inlet, the curb work, the curb line was damaged, we believe, because of the trash truck. And we received 3 quotes for that project. I'd like to get this done before our road program, since we are paving Taylor Drive. It would be nice to have this done. ATU was the low bid on the project for $2,975. The high bid, or the high proposal, was $6,875. So I'm recommending ATU Services to complete that work. We also have on the agenda the phase 2 of the Braun properties. So this is the Popeyes. There is a resolution for consideration this evening. Also on your agenda is discussion concerning the pump station. As I've noted for several months now, I had sent a request to DEP for a change in the scope of work. You know that we have bid that project 3 times, and it's well over what the budget was for the project. We have gotten the approval from DEP for the change of scope, which will get us our flow meter into that pump station, a working flow meter into that pump station. I have also spoken with actually conferred, I should say, not necessarily spoken with the solicitor, that because we have gone through 3 bid cycles, that we can now just request a quote. And I'm going to request the quote from Delcora, because they gave us the initial quote on the project prior to us getting the small sewer and water grant. Or KBX, who is a company that is mainly associated with pump station and sanitary sewer work. So they do quite a bit of work in pump stations that for municipalities that we represent. So I'm going to ask for that. Otherwise, I can just report general progress, and if anybody has any questions, I can answer those.
All right, so just a quick question. Do we need to propose anything for the ADU inlet replacement, the 2,900 or whatever it was? What was I can't remember the exact sum. Do we need to make a motion to do that? Do you want to do that ahead of street repaving, right? You want that done before we mill the streets up and put them back down?
Well, yeah, it'll be, the plants are going to open probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're told. Typically, it's usually the end of April. I know that just to be fiscally responsible, that we had gotten the 3 bids. So if council feels that it's necessary, or the solicitor feels it's necessary, to make a motion to award that proposal. Otherwise, I'd really like to get it done. We'll just let ATU know that they can get started.
Okay, is that all you got?
That's all I've got.
All right, so Solicitor Baumler, can I solicit from council, or could I ask for council to make a motion to approve the ADU contract today?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to approve the ADU bid for the I think is the sewer inlet repair on, I believe, Taylor Drive, in the amount of
$2,975.
$2,975. Can I entertain a motion from council for that amount for ADU?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, forgot about the second there. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Moving on to Public Finance and Administration, I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to approve the bill list for the month of February 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to approve the treasurer's report for the month of February 2021.
So
So
moved.
moved. No, second.
All right, so motion moved by Councilwoman Daly, seconded by Councilman Willis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to approve the February 2nd, 2021 workshop meeting minutes and February 16th, 2021 council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to discuss adding Bayard Road, Watson Road, and the lower portion of Ashland Avenue to the 2021 roads program. I believe there is one, so Sharon Park Drive as well. Wasn't on my agenda. Had to go from memory there. So let me rephrase that. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to add Bayard Road, Watson Road, the lower portion of Ashland Avenue, and Sharon Park Drive to the 2021 roads resurfacing program.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Daly and Councilwoman Isaac. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'd like to discuss the change of scope order for the pump house project. I think I think our engineer, Ms. Catania, did review that. So what do we need to do here, Lise?
I just want to make sure that council is okay with us going ahead and requesting the quote from Delcora. They're actually currently doing the maintenance in your pump station. So if Delcora is not able to do so, then I would go to CBX and ask them for a proposal to get that completed. And just, Mr. President, just to make sure that the award, I didn't say it, the award for the 2021 road program is actually on the agenda as well.
Yes, that's
Right.
coming up next. It
Okay.
wasn't on the agenda, but I remember it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to change the scope in accordance with the engineer's report for the pump house project and to allow her to initiate a conversation to ask for quotes for the work from Delcora.
So moved.
So moved. A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Councilman Willis. Motion carries unanimously. I'd like to I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to approve the bid from AF Damon for our 2021 road resurfacing program
So moved.
with the change orders intact. For a total
So
of, I
moved.
think it was 593,000. What's that total again, Lisa? With the change
I'll
orders?
unmute myself first. $591,494.82.
Did somebody move on the motion? Lee? Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so we'll have some new roads come spring. That's good. Is there anything that I'm missing that was not in the agenda? Andrew, this was not on, a lot of this stuff was not on my agenda. I had to go from memory on that. So I just want to let you know. Is there anything else missing under my portion? No? All right, so I'd like to turn it over to Councilman Willis for any new business from Public Works Committee.
Nothing too crazy, just a couple fine announcements from our highways foreman. He just wants to make sure that residents are reminded to call the Borough Hall to report any potholes on borough streets. We're trying to take care of those as they come up as they reach a certain point before we reach the full repaving. Also, if residents see streetlights that are out, please call the Borough Hall with the closest address to the streetlight and a telephone number so it can be repaired. And then that is all for those quick little announcements as far as things that need to be done that way. Street sweeping is supposed to start in late April, but we'll have the confusion with the paving program probably happening around the same time. So, that may put a delay on street sweeping, at least down in the village. But whenever we do end up moving with street sweeping, there'll be robocalls that go out, people will announce there'll be information put out about when that is going to start. So does anyone have any thoughts or comments on this?
I have a thought. Are we going to have a street sweeping of all the sediment and stone left by Pico on the sides of all the roads?
Councilman Daly, I can address that if you want. Yes, Pico is actually coming a couple times and they claim that they will come in several more times. So I've reported it now to them probably 2 or 3 times. They've actually come out to do reviews. It gets a little bit better and then it.
Well, I was gonna say, it might be helpful for residents to know that they're coming. I know my street, we haven't had any sweeping by Pico. And cars are parked there still all day.
I also have a concern for the $370,000 piece of equipment that the borough purchased for street sweeping. And the amount of debris on the roads concerns me. I don't know to what degree that could cause damage to our street sweeper.
So that is part of the reason why Sean does not want to start during the road repair portion, because gravel and things like that can be a cause for concern for our equipment. But theoretically, as the paving is done, then cleaning will be done. You know, like they will clean up after they've done the paving portion. So then we can pick up our street sweeping with just the regular normal trash and debris that would be on the street. At least you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's normally how that goes.
Yeah, typically when they pave, they'll actually clean the street before they pave. So they'll mill it, they'll clean it, and then they'll tack coat it and then pave it. So that'll be taken care of as part of the project.
I mean, the streets like Grant Road are a mess. There's a good ½ inch of debris on both sides of that street.
If you like, I'll get in touch with Pico tomorrow. All righty.
Thank you,
Take
Lisa.
care of that. Yeah.
Anything else, Councilman Willis?
No, that is all I have.
I got a question for Councilman Willis.
ahead.
What's Cricket Lane trash pickup? Nothing happened today. Do we know if they're coming by tomorrow to pick it up?
I did not know there wasn't trash picked up at Cricket Lane. Andrew, have we heard anything from them about this?
Nope, that wasn't reported to me by H&H and I've had no other resident calls about it.
Residents posted on Facebook about it. I told them to email you in the morning.
Okay, yeah, I haven't gotten anything yet, but I can give them a call in the morning, find out what's going on.
Everybody's trash is still out there, so they're, if they could swing by and pick it up tomorrow, that'd be great.
I'll let them know. I'll even
All
text
right.
them tonight.
Very good. So under municipal planning and zoning, it's not on the agenda. However, it is something that we do need to discuss. Are there final phases for the Popeyes project that does anything need to be approved for that?
Yes, I believe there is a resolution.
Yep, we got it today.
Let me.
This was not on my agenda, just to make it clear.
This went out today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have the
put the
agenda
blame
you
on
gave
me.
for the meeting today. What's that?
I'll fall on the sword for that. We didn't get the agreement all the way done until late Friday.
All right, so can we approve it tonight? How shall I, I guess this should come from municipal planning and zoning, but Councilman Waters is not present. How should I phrase the motion?
I'll make the motion. I can read it. I have it open.
Perfect.
I'd like to make a motion granting conditional approval to the final subdivision and land development plan Phase 2 submitted by Folcroft Development Partners LP for the property located at Delmar Drive and School Lane, folio number 2000000465. It's a lot of numbers.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Hey, before you vote,
Sorry.
Aye.
probably want to entertain a little bit of discussion.
Okay, would anybody like to discuss the issue?
I believe the applicant's attorney, Mr. D'Amico, is on the Zoom call, as well as the project's engineer and potentially the developer itself and a couple of other parties. So they'd like to kind of give their kind of spiel as to what they're doing here with Phase 2 and what's going on for the council would be appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Forgive me for steamrolling over that. I wasn't aware they were on the call. I apologize. So I'd like to turn it over to the developer.
How you doing? My name is Lee Brand. I'm with Brand Properties. I'm the project developer, and we're looking forward to finalizing the project and putting in the second phase. It's much as anticipated in the first phase. The user is Popeyes. I think everybody's familiar with them. They've gone through a large expansion. Apparently, the chicken sandwich has made the restaurant extremely popular. And they'd like a location in Folcroft. We've entered into a contract, a lease with one of their franchise operators who has multiple stores. And we are looking to develop the shell of the building for them, and they will take over and complete the fit out of the store. The site plan has very few changes from the original plan. The shell of the building, which was a little larger than the building that we had, still fit within kind of the footprint area that we had laid out, for the building. So very few changes really had to occur with the overall site plan.
All right, very good. So I believe the motion is, are you okay for us to move with this, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, we should just add, of course, that, this is phase 2 of a larger project that's already been completed. So you do have the resolution before you. Hopefully you guys have at least had a chance to read through it. I don't think that there are any other suggested conditions or concerns with the property. I'll turn over the borough engineer in case she has anything that she would like to add.
Thank you, Alex. Just wanted to mention, and we've talked about this before, we do have the issue with the existing basin, and that will be taken care of as part of this phase 2 project. So we're looking forward to that.
We have a contract out for that, and it should be corrected.
Can I ask a question? Next door to this location is Tooney's, and it is a residence. And she is concerned about the drive-through noise. Is there going to be some kind of barrier or anything for noise pollution so that she doesn't have to listen to people ordering chicken sandwiches all night long?
We don't have a sound barrier built into the project. They generally operate till midnight.
So they'll be working till midnight.
Yeah. 10 till midnight is their general store hours. They've been operating a little less hours because of the pandemic, but that's their normal operating hours.
I think that's a reasonable concern from a resident. And I thank Councilwoman Daly for bringing that up. Is there something we can do about that?
We could vote now. We could vote now.
Jeff Bevan with Bowler Engineering. The one thing I do want to note is that the order point is at the rear of the building, not along the residential side. So most of any noise associated with it would be back there.
Tell the little one I said hello. Okay, so what's the council want to do with that? I mean, Lee, that was a really good point that never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, when the original plan was approved, I mean, it was still a drive-through location, having all the same elements with the pickup being in the same area.
Okay.
Lee, I'm wondering if we can't take a look, and Jeff will probably speak better to this because they don't have the landscape plan in front of me, but could very well be that we take a look at the landscaping and move some of the shrubbery around, which will help with the sound attenuation there.
Yeah, we do work with that.
Just for those who weren't part of phase 1, Lee was gracious enough when all this was happening. We didn't want the phase 2 vacant lot to look like a vacant lot and have vehicles. We had enough trouble, and he would smirk if I said it, with vehicles deciding to utilize non-paved areas for their leisure. So we actually have additional landscaping. All of the bush that you see around the perimeter of that phase 2 was done in excess of what Lee needed to do for the Dollar General. So maybe some of that can be placed over where Tooney's or between the drive-through in Toonie to try to mitigate some of that noise attenuation, or some of that noise, I should
It's a
say.
good point. A lot of excess landscape there, and to the extent we even needed to add more, we'd work with you along, as the project gets developed.
Hey, Lee, if this is a concern and I think it's a good concern, I'm willing to make a motion to table because as you guys can tell from the basin has been a problem since the original Dollar General went up. So I think it's probably a better idea that we have everything.
It's not as if we've.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Actually, Councilman McGuigan, excuse you. I am, I'm presiding over this meeting. There's no reason to speak to the gentleman in that way. And so
In
that'll
what
be
way,
all.
Joe?
That's he was just.
I'd like
he
to
was
make
just
a motion
he was
to
okay.
table the project till next month.
Motion does not have a second. So I'd like to continue with the original motion to approve the project contingent upon shrubbery and other landscape affixments, if you will, along the border of the properties in order to control the noise. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to do that, to do just that.
Question, Joe.
Shoot.
With the motion, with the concerns of the noise by Toonies, are you making the motion continue, to look into that matter before it goes forward?
I'll jump in. From the way I think Joe described it is basically he is making a motion to approve the resolution as drafted, but you are suggesting that you're adding a condition that the developer and the borough engineer are going to consult and work with each other to develop some kind of sound buffer, sound barrier out of the landscape. So essentially the building permits for this project would not be issued until that particular issue is resolved amongst the developer and the engineer.
Thank you for clarifying that, Alex. I appreciate that. That is precisely
That's my question, Joe.
Yep. So that would be the motion that I would be requesting from the body of council.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
I vote no on Popeyes.
All right, please note Councilman McGuigan's no vote. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you. I would like, if you don't mind, just to add a little light on the comment that was made about the basin. We did recognize that the basin was not draining properly. Jeff Bevan, had worked on that, and we had to go back to the DEP for some redesign on that, and that took quite some time to get that approval on what needed to be done. And we just recently got that and added it into this scope of work that really couldn't have been done until the springtime anyway. And Jeff, if you want to explain that, just so for informative reasons.
Correct. So that was subject to a corrective action plan or major modification under DEP. So as part of that remediation, we'll be replacing and re-amending some of the soil in the bottom of that basin, adding an under drain and modifying the outlet control structure in accordance with DEP standards for that facility. And that will be work. The reason that couldn't be done in the late fall was twofold. One, we needed approval from DEP for that modification. And then secondly, since the bottom of the basin is going to be disturbed, we need to do that in a planting season when we can re-stabilize the bottom of that basin. And so that will be done very early in the spring here.
All right, very good.
Very good.
All right, so we appreciate that. So the motion's been made. So moving on to Parks and Recreation, Councilwoman Daly.
Nothing new, just a reminder, cleanup day, April 24th. We're looking for sponsors. If any businesses in the area want to help out, we would love some more sponsors. But TNT is our big sponsor. A banner will be going up hopefully in the next few weeks to remind residents to come on out and help clean up on Earth Day.
All right, I will be there. It's my birthday. So I'll be out to help. There is also going to be a creek cleanup that I'll have some more information about shortly. I'm the captain for that project. It'll be, I think it's April 10th. So I'm still trying to get stuff together to get the word out on that. And I hope that you'll help me with that, Councilwoman Daly. If you will assist me in getting the word out. I no longer participate on social media, so for other reasons. So I may need your assistance on that. Is that all you got for Parks and Rec?
Over 215 kids registered to get egged by the borough, so that's pretty exciting. And our Easter bonnet contest is just beginning. Kids should be able to come pick up. Parents can pick up their bags and start making their bonnets. I've gotten a couple in already. I'm pretty excited about it. So that's where we're at.
All right. Very good. So is that, we're good? I can move on? Very good. Thank you. And I appreciate all the hard work that you do, Lee. You're excellent at it. Moving on to municipal legislation, in the absence of Councilman Waters, I would like to discuss Folcroft's schedule of fees and the revision of the ordinance that governs our schedule of fees as it stands currently. Mr. Solicitor, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm gonna get myself on mute. Sure. So late last week in positive development, Andrew was able to track down what we think was the last verified and past schedule of fees. Good news is that we have one. Bad news is that it appears that it was 2012 was the last time that council passed a fee resolution. So it looks like we have a baseline to work off of. And in just talking today with Andrew, a couple of the fees seem like they track in the sense that, you know, they've been in place since 2012, but they haven't changed. So our next major task here is now going back through and department by department, trying to figure out, all right, what else has changed and what else is out there as far as fees are charged. They're not necessarily going to be found in an ordinance, as I was telling Andrew. They could be something as simple as, you know, a fee to use a ball field or to rent a pavilion in a park, for example. But we're calling the list together. It's my hope and intent that by the April general meeting that we'll have a finished list for you guys to resolve and pass.
I also wanted to discuss, and I've discussed with our police department at length the past few days, the possibility of an ordinance that allows for the police department to make the decision to tow a vehicle who has 5 or more unpaid parking tickets for the same violation. Is that constitutional? Is it something that can be done? Is it something we should hold off on doing until we pass the whole omnibus with the parking permit program? What's your posturing on that? What would your advice be to this council on regarding that?
Well, I mean, as far as the number, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but did we not update the ordinance last February as far as towing and parking?
Yes. So the ordinance was updated, but it was specific to vehicles that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the way it reads is that it's specific to vehicles with expired
Right. So now you're
inspection. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now you're just proposing any vehicle, whether it's inspected, stickered,
Right.
registered or not. 5
Right, so
tickets,
Right,
potentially.
so say there's a commercial vehicle on the street that's been on the street for 10 days. It's gotten more than 5 tickets. The owner has made no effort to either pay them, move the vehicle, or to comply with our parking ordinance. At what point do we have the authority to remove the vehicle ourselves at the cost to the vehicle owner?
Right. I don't know an exact number off the top of my head, but I'll certainly consult the motor vehicle code and look at some other ordinances to see. I'm guessing there's not a magical number, to be honest. Okay. But you're right. We are about to do a pretty vast overhaul of your parking ordinances.
Right.
So it's something we can look into, and it's something that we could potentially include in those amendments rather than have to go back through and amend the ordinance just for this provision and then do a wholesale change a month or two later.
Okay, so we'll just include it in the, I just wanted to, so if the police are watching that, I did bring it up. Yep.
And Alex, I have a question for you because it's come up recently with this, with the whole inspection, emissions and registration. We have a vehicle that I towed last week has had more than 5 tickets for inspection, emissions and registration being out. I towed the vehicle. However, we have no my question would be, after we tow the vehicle, then they can come up and get a release form for it. And now that vehicle gets put back down in parking, do we need to get 5 more tickets, or we need to get 1? It's still 5 unpaid tickets in town. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it becomes, I mean, obviously it's going to cost them X amount of dollars to get that out. However, that vehicle goes right back down possibly and could possibly be put back on the street. Do we need to get 5 more tickets for the same vehicle for the same violation? Because they've had their 5, we towed it. Do they get, now does it reset, I guess?
Yeah, I gotcha. Or does it, yeah, or is it continuous? I
Actually,
don't
I
recall
think
off the top of my head, but I want to say, well, let me look at the ordinance to see what it said. But I would guess that it was probably that number resets.
Yeah. And it is, and it's actually to the benefit of the borough that it should reset, because if we tow it immediately, they don't get several tickets. In terms of revenue, if they want to continue to violate the rule, let them violate it 5 more times. We'll get 5 more tickets worth of revenue out of somebody foolish enough that just can't comply with the rule. I mean, from a
I
revenue
agree with that. I
perspective.
just wanted to make sure, we were thinking on the same path. That's all.
Yeah. Yes, I think it would reset. I think it should, for sure. Are you cool with that, Chief?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the new construction committee, Councilman Willis.
Find the unmute button myself as well. We are in the final stages and we are good on the contract, Alex, or where are we at with this now? I've seen about 100,000 emails go back and forth, so I lose
Yeah.
track of my day job.
I know I signed something, so.
Yeah, we're fine. So the contract just had a couple of little items that needed tweaked and changed and updated, and then the change order for the additional cost for materials was drafted as separate. So as of Friday and yesterday, we were working those way through. But yeah, Joe should have signed both the final construction contract and the change order relative to the price increases.
So at this point, we're just
You're
waiting
done.
to get it over to them.
Yep.
Have them sign, okay? So that is where we're at. And then once that is done, we can get ourselves a schedule and get this show on the road.
Nice.
So
Glad to hear it. Good work to everyone involved. Anything else on that committee?
nope, we'll have a lot more information hopefully very soon. So
All right, on to the,
Joe, before we move any further, what about health and literacy? You skipped me.
Councilwoman Isaac, forgive me. I did all the
I
jumping
certainly
around
do.
and having to ad lib for things that weren't on the agenda that I had to go off memory. I apologize. So let me excuse me, Kyle. I'm going to back it up to Councilwoman Isaac. Anything under public health and literacy, ma'am?
Just Delaware County is still having issues with vaccinations. I know now, I think they're starting with teachers and health or childcare. I know there was a big thing at Upper Darby over the weekend. So be keeping an eye out. Vaccines are coming our way for everybody. That's all that I have.
I will say that the Upper Darby operation was a very well-oiled machine, exceptionally effective, efficient. And I'd like to see more of that and less of this nonsense with partnering with, pharmacies, big name corporate pharmacies. We have plenty of public facilities that could be put to good use. I don't see the need to have to partner with, corporations for this. We have the infrastructure to do it. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Thank you though, Councilwoman Isaac, and I do apologize for skipping you. I wasn't
No
too
hard feelings, Joe.
my apologies. Moving on to parking permit and paving committee, which is one that really interests me. I wanted to know if there was any developments from that, Councilman Willis.
as of right now, our current status is we are about to have 2 public meetings this week for the public to attend. One is at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. The other one is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Thursday. The information is on the website for joining into the Zoom meeting. It is a Zoom meeting just like this. People are welcome to come in and give public comment on the information, the program. There is in those events on the website, there is a link to a presentation that was put together, just kind of briefly summarizing the proposed plan that we have. So you should look through that, take some time, familiarize yourself with what we are proposing, so that, we can get some good feedback from the public on that. Those are those two meetings. That is the current state of that. Once we have that together, we can kind of coordinate all of that public input and everything that we have and put together an ordinance. We've already approved the process to start that, so we just have to get all the rest of our public input and then finalize an ordinance to bring that to the table. And then as far as the other half of this committee, which is the driveway portion, the appraisals of the construction easements should be done, and Andrew, correct me if I'm not remembering this correctly, in about 3 weeks or so. We should have that information in. That's not a set, hard, firm date, but that's what we expect.
Hope for two, but it could be as many as 3.
So once we have that information in, then we can start to move forward on the portions of the project for the driveway restoration, which would be then to look at starting the process of getting those TCs and all the other portions of this project that have to go on with that. So this is the first step in the driveway portion. So we're kind of got a lot of balls in the air, but we're making it. You are muted, Joe.
Sorry about that. Any chance we can get this this thing in motion by summer, late summer, maybe by September?
For the driveway portion?
No, for the permit portion is what Phil
for
offers to pay for the driveway.
For the permit portion, that, Alex, I mean, that should be doable, right?
I mean, of course, we want our new roads first before we do that. But
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee. I think we discussed July was our target date.
I believe that was
to
what
get
we
the
were.
permits out the door.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah. So I mean, the permitting portion should be easier. The driveway portion is going to be much.
That's a 2022 start date for sure.
Yeah, that's a much more, much bigger lift. So.
Perfect. All right, excellent.
Any other questions?
Nope, satisfied my questions. Thank you, Councilman Willis. I appreciate your work. Doing a good job. Moving on to the police chief's report.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council. I just want to thank you again for the corporals. I'm sure they are happy, I'm happy, and I'm sure the police department will be better with them in their positions. I really do appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Our numbers are a little bit lower this month, I guess, because of all the snow and everything like that. Just even the call volume's down a little bit, but obviously with the weather breaking, I think we're going to be in for a little change and as such or whatever. A couple different things. I did get a letter from Glen Olden Fire Company, number 1, and I'll read it for you from what they sent to us. It was, Dear Chief Bear, we would like to recognize Deputy Chief Chris Eisman for his actions at a building fire in the Glen Olden Borough on February 25th, 2021. On Thursday, February 25th, 2021, the Glen Olden Fire Company, along with other mutual aid fire companies, were dispatched to 49 North Chester Pike for a building fire with entrapment. Deputy Chief Chris Eisman, along with the Glen Olden Police, responded to a confirmed 2 females were trapped on the 2nd floor with no way to escape. Deputy Chief Eisman, without regard for his personal safety, assisted and with the removal of one of the trapped females from the 2nd story window. Deputy Chief Chris Eisman, quick response, recognized of the severity of the situation. Immediate actions resulted in saving a life. On behalf of Glen Olden Fire Company, we would like to thank Deputy Chief Eisman and commend him for his heroic life-saving actions. Sincerely, Michael F. McGowan from Glen Olden Fire Company. I thought that was nice for them. Also with that, I did that speed study. Kyle, last month you were in for Joe that was had something else as far as last meeting, and I did a speed enforcement, and that should be in your paperwork that you guys have. Yep. It is almost a 30% enforceable violations. So basically, I talked to Glen Olden, Chief Kelly, and in the spring, in a little bit, when it starts warming up a little bit more, we are going to do a speed control pattern there and on Elmwood Avenue. So the resident that was complaining about the speed does actually have a point. There is some speeding going on at this location. So we will
What
be,
stretch of Elmwood is it?
It's the 1800 block of Elmwood.
It's between Ashland and the creek. It's the
Yes.
Okay. Right where you come down that hill there.
Yep.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So half the road's ours, half the road is Glen Olden's. So the highest speed was 63 miles an hour, which is flying. But, you know, we don't know who that was or whatever else, but we do know there was, I think it was 10,000 vehicles came through in that week. So you should have a lot of the study or whatever else. And so we will be enforcing that when we get in conjunction with Glen Olden when it gets nicer out or whatever else. Also, I don't know if we were going to bring up, I don't know if Andrew was going to bring up anything as far as the T-Mobile account and also the FirstNet with AT&T that we have. I think you also have an email from Deputy Chief Eiserman about this situation. Do you guys have that? Joe?
Say again. I'm reading over the notes from the speed study. Sorry about that. Could you say
It says
again?
that you guys were copied in. Andrew, you were copied in, and Chief Riskowski, you were copied in as well on that. Is just basically trying to stay with AT&T,
Yes,
with the Falcon Police Department, and with our with the cars because we're on the FirstNet, and it's basically a safety issue, and T-Mobile cannot guarantee that. That's why we were trying to.
I'm erring on the side of agreeing with you on that. I think that it's worth that in itself is a feature worth what we pay. In a serious, major event with circuits busy, I think we should. I mean, I don't know if anybody objects from council, but I think we should stick with, what the network the police are on at the current for that particular reason, that the other carrier can't guarantee those, that amenity, if you will.
And that's it. I thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yep, we're on board with you on that, with Chief. So that's everything. We got you. You're at the end of it.
Yeah,
of your,
our
report?
anti-crimes out there. I mean, we haven't had that crazy amount of arrests or whatever else, but anti-crime, we do have 2 big cases that are going on that I can't specify a lot about, but we have 2 big ones that are good. So
okay,
that are coming up.
All right, very good. Moving on to the solicitor's report.
Actually do have something for you guys this evening. This would not be on your agenda, of course. There's a curveball. I got this at 6:30, so I apologize, Joe. So if the council wasn't aware, in 2020, it was about the end of November, tax assessment appeal season started. This year was especially pretty heavy with your county because of the general wide assessment. So you had authorized our office to essentially enter our appearance and monitor 3 appeals that had been filed for Folcroft specifically. They're still ongoing, and obviously for those that aren't familiar, the property owner, commercial or residential, is appealing their assessment that was laid down. It's the school district that is the driver of the bus here. They're the ones that always fight the assessment appeal to be lowered. So it's their attorneys, it's their counsel that, fight against this and really bear all the expense and cost. We as a municipality generally just go in line with them and, agree with them. But a specialist in our office, Dan Greaser, does this for us. He enters appearances. He just monitors, keeps tracks of all the cases that are going on. He communicates with the school district. I will tell you that 99% of these just settle out. There is a potential to go before a trial, before a judge of the Court of Common Pleas, but it's always seen as basically a duplicitous waste of resources on everybody's part. So the general rule is that you see an appeal and then you see a number that's realistic that comes down, and then all the parties agree to it. And they always, from the base standpoint, they always end up as an increase in tax revenue for the borough. So it's not to say that it's not, warranted or worth it. It's just, it usually comes down off the, the high number that the county shoots for.
Okay.
Long story short though, We got, what was it? We got 7 more that just came across that we had received notice of that we need to enter our appearance for. Very quickly, I'll spare the details here, but 1505 Chester Pike, 500 Kaiser Drive, 0 Folcroft Avenue, 1548 Chester Pike, 2500 Henderson, 1528 Elmwood, and 0 Henderson Boulevard are your appellants on those properties. But all I need right now from the Borough Council tonight is just authorization to allow our office to enter our appearance and work with the school district on this appeal. And generally, as we get closer, there'll be 1 or 2 judges at the county court of common pleas that'll handle all of your assessment appeals essentially on the same day. So we'll have a summary of the status of each one of those and where they're going, and we'll provide that information to you. But right now, I just need a motion and authorization to allow us to appeal on those additional 7 that we received.
All right. I'm sorry, a motion to do what with the appeals?
To authorize the solicitor's office to enter the appearance of the borough in the assessment appeals.
All right, I'd like to entertain from the body of council a motion to allow the solicitor's office to entertain the 7 additional to appear the 7 additional appeal tax assessment appeals regarding the most recent assessment.
So moved.
All the second. Do we have a second?
I will second.
All right. So motion's been made by Councilwoman Daly, seconded by Councilman Willis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Does that do it for you, Alex?
That's everything. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Moving on to the finance director's report.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here. You should have received my written report. I will submit that each month, kind of give you an update of where we are. We have some catch up to do, and I just really want to thank eCollect for making the transition pretty smooth for us. So that was great. But we are behind on audits that we need to catch up on. So we'll be working through that in the next few weeks. Just be patient and we will get there. The one thing that would really be helpful for us is if we could get access to the bank accounts. Online access would make it easier. Just even if it's viewing capabilities, we usually get that for our clients, just makes our accounting work a lot easier. So for example, like M&T Bank, I don't have the bank statements and the account hasn't been reconciled since May. So having the bank balance doesn't really help me. I need to know what transactions flowed through there. So if we could try and work on that, that would be great. I know the other thing that I'm going to ask Christine to schedule time with Andrew to get the liquid fuels report. That's late and that needs to get in. So we got to get that done. So that's the other thing that we need to catch up on. So we'll get there slowly but surely. There's an email address specifically for you guys. So falcroft@brinkersimpson.com. You can use it. It goes to 4 people on my team. So if anybody has any questions, somebody will be able to answer it for you. And I think that's all I have unless anybody has any questions for me.
Donna, thank you for all your work. We appreciate that. So how late is the liquid fuels report?
I believe, Lisa, do you know if was that due the end of January or in February? The end of January, right? Yeah, so that was due the end of January. And that we need to get that updated and sent to them. So I'm going to make that, I know Christine was going to try and do that today, so I don't know what happened, but I want to get that done. So I'll follow up with her.
I also want to make you aware, I don't know if anybody told you about this, but I believe that the liquid fuels monies, once dispersed from the state, I believe they were dispersed to what was the bank that we stopped doing business with? Yeah. So we would have to find some way to redirect any sort of ACH to the, to a current account.
Yeah, that's why I think those bank accounts are all still open, because I think there's a lot of direct deposits that are going in there. So we have to look at that and see what's going in there and try and change it to your new bank, to Republic, and then we can close those accounts. So this way we don't have, there's a lot of accounts. So we want to try and streamline
This is something that I wanted to discuss in the borough manager's report as well that's come up with him. So
okay, All right, moving on to the borough manager's report. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
we all-
done. Thank you.
We're all done, Donna? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Andrew.
So since we just discussed that, I'll just to reiterate with regard to the liquid fuels report, I got my login information, so we should be good. And I think that can be done hopefully by the end of the week. With regard to M&T, M&T is, Republic is pretty easy to deal with. We can get statements from them. Their online access is fine. But M&T is, their online access is not very helpful. Their statements come out late. They frequently don't provide information when we ask for it. And it's a constant and struggle with them for seeking more clarification and approval that I can get access to something, but then also I'm the signer on the account. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think that we should discuss, I think that those accounts are duplicative anyway. We should discuss closing them and moving everything, all of our work over to Republic, or if council would prefer another bank. But I think that this is not helpful. I think that, especially considering that we're likely to receive $660,000 from the new stimulus package, that money is likely to end up going into our M&T account. And we should consider that and make sure that this stuff gets switched over either before we receive that money or after if need be.
Yeah, I've not been happy with M&T's service, so.
I mean, their staff are very nice people, and I don't want this to be misconstrued as an attack on them. They're nice people, but I don't like the service of the bank is overall, or the way it's operated is poor. All right, on to the report that I sent out to you on Friday. During the month of February, we issued a total of 98 code enforcement violations. So far, as of writing this, which was on 3/12, a total of 44 code enforcement violations have been issued for the month of March, which is on track to surpass the total number from February. As always, I encourage residents, please contact me if you have any issues with code enforcement. I'm seeing an uptick in people contacting me and resolving matters, which I think is nice. Highway, we already discussed this. The highway department's busy fixing potholes across the borough, especially focused on Old Falcroft. We're trying to avoid replacing potholes to the extent that we're able in the village, because of the repaving. We just be redoing the streets anyway in a month, as long as it's not a serious hazard. We're trying not to put any cold patch down there. I would also like to say that at some point in the future, council members should discuss getting more cold patch to give out to residents, help them to repair shared driveways. I know that we're talking about this repaving program, but there are other homes that would potentially be exempt that I think it would be good to have some of that stuff for. The street sweeper has been in the shop. It had to go for routine maintenance. It'll be done and back well before we begin street sweeping. Our Thursday food giveaways are coming to an end. Our last one will be on March 18th. So far as we're aware, we're not aware of whether or not this is going to get expanded. We will have more months. Hopefully we will. I expect that we'll have more food giveaways as things go along. COVID-19 updates. According to the Chester County Health Department's website, a total of 7.75% of borough residents have tested positive for COVID-19 since March. It's a total of 514 total cases. It's an increase of 37 cases since my last February report to council. These cases, 6 borough residents have now passed away due to COVID-19. That's while awful news, represents no increase from the previous month. And if you'd like to read more, I can share the website. I sent an advertisement for borough residents to submit resumes to fill vacancies in some boards. Gotten a few resumes in. I'm going to wait till a few more, and then I think perhaps for our next meeting we should have an executive session to discuss some of these candidates. We've got a couple of them that I already think would be good on particular committees and boards, and it would be good to appoint them. But again, we'll discuss that.
Andrew, I hate to interrupt you. I did get some feedback on that from somebody who called. So there weren't any specifications of what boards had vacancies. So residents are sort of they're just sending in their resumes for something that, I mean, is there any way to be more specific about what boards people could serve on? Because I think that and I wouldn't know firsthand because I don't have social media anymore. I don't use it. But just the feedback I've gotten is that the board vacancies were not specific. Where'd you go? We lost you there, bro.
Sorry, the cat is on the table and licking a bag, and
Nice.
I just smack him off. Yeah, so I absolutely make them more specific if you'd like. There are a bunch of different vacancies in different areas. For example, we can have, I think, up to 3 alternates in the zoning hearing board. We don't have one currently. We've got somebody lined up for one, but as people have been contacting me, I've been talking to them privately and just giving them a list of things that they could do or suggestions. And so far that's been working. I can definitely update it.
Okay, very good. Very good. Anything else?
That's all.
All right, very good work. Anything under old business? I would like to add an item under new business. In the future, members of this council, I would ask that, you know, I understand that frustrations can sometimes run high and sometimes we maybe lose control. It happens, but I would just want to caution council members in the future, do not speak to in any manner that is disrespectful to any professional that is a partner with this borough. It's not professional. It's not acceptable. What happened this evening was inappropriate. And you know, I'm not going to name any names, but it was unnecessary. I think it was an overreaction. From my guesstimation of the sequence of events, the gentleman was just trying to, you know, make his case or to defend against whatever sort of accusation was lobbed in his direction regarding his project. And it is entirely unprofessional to speak directly to any partner of this municipality in any sort of business regard with that kind of disrespect. And you know, that's all I got to say about that. I'd like to entertain from the body of council a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? This meeting's adjourned at 8:25 p.m. Everybody have a good night.
You too.
Have a
Thank you.
good night.
Good night.